Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to continue down the path of one of my last videos, which was about your C-file, right? There was a lot of good interaction from everybody on that C-file video. If you haven't seen it, there'll be a link for it at the end of this video. But today I wanted to talk about one of the things that's inside that C-file, and that is your VA ratings decision or your VA ratings code sheet, right? And I've got it right here on my iPad. I'm going to record it. We'll put it up in that corner and make sure that you get a good look at this. So let's dive right into what this is, right? And so looking at the code sheet or the rating decision sheet, what you'll see is at the very top, there's just the basic information, name of the veteran, your file number, social security number, etc. And then there is a section that talks about your service time, right? There's an entry date, there's a departure date, what branch, and your character of service. And then you've got legacy codes, and some of these can get pretty interesting. Additional service codes are specifically combat related, and they can, add and subtract factors that are taken into consideration by the VA when they're rating you for a specific disability. Excuse me. Combat code. Combat code can be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number 1 is not combat related. Number 2 is there's combat related with connected service disabilities. 3 is not connected service disabilities, and 4 is both. Then you got some special provisional codes, and those special provision codes would be like your SMCs, etc. So those are all located right there. You'll also see in this one specifically a future exam date, and that future exam date is really important for you to understand because that tells you whether or not you need to have another exam or if what they're telling you have is permanent, right? It's a static disability. It's not likely to change or get better over time. The symptoms can be controlled, but the condition's not going to change. All right, so let's get down here into the meat of the thing now. This one is based on a new claim that was received on 3/31 of 2023. And what is subject to compensation, right? Subject to compensation means these are the things that you have compensated related service connected disabilities. That's a whole lot of mouthful of words, especially for me this morning. So what this means is these are the codes and the conditions that you have that are financially rated. They're compensation rated, as in they're 10% or up, right? Non-comp are 0%. So actually non-comps are still 0%, or comps are still 0%, but you don't have anything because they're 0, but you can build your secondaries on them. So let's talk about this first one. Depressive disorder due to another medical condition with depressive features associated with tinnitus due to acoustic trauma, right? Basically, mental health. That's all that says. Every mental health rating is going to be the same, but they will have different codes. And so some codes can actually get you higher in the scale. Some codes can get you lower in the scale, but it's all subjective at that point because there are specific symptoms. There's symptomology that is used to figure out if you get a 10, 30, 50, 70, or 100, right? For mental health, the average out there for people who claim for PTSD, etc., is 70. That's the average. A lot of people are below that. Just don't expect to be that high just because you have PTSD. It all has to do with the symptomology. But your code of 9434 is that depressive disorder, right? And this is going to come in handy when we talk in a little bit here. So the next one we have is tinnitus, which obviously contributed to 9434. So tinnitus is at 6260. I did another video on diagnostic codes and their importance, and the reason why is because you can go back into the VA's guidebook, the 38 CFR. You can look at what specific rating codes or diagnostic codes are related to compensable VA disability, as in you can get paid for it, right? So there's that. And then there's allergic rhinitis 6522, which was a presumptive based on Gulf War service. It's a 0% because there's nothing specifically that meets the criteria of the symptomology of anything higher. And I'll just tell you from experience, the allergic rhinitis one, unless you've got 50% or more blockage on at least one side of your nose from a deviated septum or some other type of condition, you're going to get a 0. The good thing about that 0 is that you can build on it. You can build up from there and say, hey, I've got this allergic rhinitis, but it also leads to and causes these things, you know, or it's a symptom of these other areas, or I have other symptoms that relate to that. So you can build your secondary condition off of that. All right, underneath there, we have the combined evaluation for compensation. It started at 10% because of the bilateral tinnitus, and then that 30% was added in. So we ended up with 40 total as of 2022. So then we get into what I think is the most helpful part of the rating decision sheet, right? And that is things that you have claimed, but they have not been service connected. And this is where you need to take a close look at these actual codes. 6100, what is the, you know, the threshold for bilateral hearing loss due to trauma, you know, under 6100? Is 6100 a rateable diagnostic code? You can again go back to 38 CFR, take a look around, you can see that. And then you've got sleep apnea 6847. I won't go through all of these, but you get the point here. The point here is to take this sheet and to look at all these things that are not subject to compensation, they're not service connected, and see where did you miss the mark. Go look at what's required for each of these diagnostic codes and what the symptomology is for the things that you've claimed. And you can leverage this to do supplemental claims. You can leverage this if you think it's absolutely wrong that they didn't claim you, you've got all the evidence to prove it. You've looked through your C file, you've got everything in here. You can see that, hey, my DBQ said this, the rater put this code in here, it's wrong, it should have been compensable. Then go to that higher level review. You do not put any more evidence in, but when you get the higher level review, request an informal conference. That means a phone call with that higher level reviewer. And with that phone call, you can go in and say, hey, I got my C file on December of 2023, and on page 62, it shows this, and on page 73, it shows this. That's a complete opposite difference between those two things. Listen, the VA makes mistakes, right? If they didn't make mistakes, we wouldn't have to have videos like this. If it wasn't so bureaucratic to get some things done with the VA, we wouldn't have to have these videos. So again, I encourage everybody to look into this rating sheet. So let's look at the last page real quick. It doesn't really say much, but there's an original date of denial for the currently claimed condition. And then you can see some notes about it underneath there. And that's going to wrap up understanding the rating sheets from a high level standpoint. Listen, if you've got questions, I ask that you put them down in the comments, share this video with other veterans, like it, let this thing run all the way through. If you've gotten to this point, thank you very much. You are helping spread the word to more and more veterans. Thanks everybody. Take care. See ya.